Absolutely. You can get 10 of these.
Union construction workers earn the highest wages with the best benefits and the most protection in the construction industry. Find your career in construction. Go to GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com and start your future today.
What you doing?
Hey, just finishing this claim to get Dave back on the road.
Nice. I wonder what Dave's doing.
You do your thing. We've got you covered.
Happy Friday Eve and welcome to another episode of Keeping It Real with Najeh Wilkins. I'm your host. This show is happily presented by GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com. Man, we got a lot to talk about today. Sorry for me being late, fashionably late. Had a sponsored lunch, so that took a little longer than expected. But I'm here today and we got a jam-packed show. We're going to look at some tape. Jeremiah Ioane from Las Vegas, Nevada. We're going to break down his tape. He sent me his film, so we're going to break that down. We'll talk about some of the matchups. I got an upset alert. Got to talk about those. That's going to be a lot of fun to break down. And then we're also going to be talking about National Signing Day for basketball and a lot of major sports. Baseball, seen softball yesterday. Basketball, we're going to talk about all the moves and things like that. Major players signing with major schools, so that's going to be featured also in the first segment. Second segment, we're going to talk about the matchup, the creme de la creme, the best in 7A right now, and that is Grayson and McEachern. They're kicking it off this Saturday night at 8:30 p.m. If you got nothing to do on a Saturday, go check out this game. It's at 8:30. It's at McEachern High School. They're hosting the Classic. Again, I think two of the best teams in the state, let alone probably even the country. They're going to face off Saturday at 8:30. So what a way to start some hoops. We have some scrimmages as well. We're also going to talk about the Norcross Grove Town matchup, especially with them losing so much talent. I featured the Grayson McEachern article yesterday. So if you don't know a lot about this matchup, go check it out on scoreatl.com. We're going to talk about that. A little bit of a tell of the tape. And then we're going to conclude and finish with my top 10 headlines for the weekend presented by GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com. So without further ado, man, let's go ahead and get right into it. Games I have on upset alert. All right. East Paulding Lanier. Right? Why? I like the way East Paulding plays. They played in a tough region, right? They played with Langston Hughes. They played with Douglas County, and they got the 3 seed. They started off the region 3-0, which was very, very good. But I think they have a potential chance in this game to win, right? I think that's because they got the running back Javin Parker, who they can hand the ball off to, 955 yards rushing this year, 12 touchdowns. He's just a guy you can use in the run game, and you can kind of play some ball control. And I think that's going to be key in this game. Lanier has been doing pretty good offensively. They're led by their star wide receiver, Chase Jamison, who's having a phenomenal season. And we talked to him at Media Day, and he talked about him wanting to improve from the year prior to this year. And we're seeing that, right? He certainly backed it up. And he has 783 yards receiving and 6 touchdowns this year. He's been a big factor for the Lanier Longhorns all season long. And this is a home game for them, so that is big time. And I like some of the weapons that Lanier also has. But I think the East Paulding defense is going to be able to get enough stops. I think they're going to be able to create some turnovers, make things tough. And, I think East Paulding can really upset this game. Another playmaker you should watch out for is Cameron Shelley. He's also been having a phenomenal season for the program, 648 yards and 4 touchdowns so far this season. So he's been doing a magnificent job. And East Paulding has won 2 consecutive games, and they've scored 30 in each one of those games that they have won. So doing a magnificent job, man. And the offense looks like it's finally it's humming. And I think it's going to be a good game. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 30-27 victory. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I do have this one circled on upset alert. So that's a good one to watch for in the first round of the playoffs, guys. You guys should be excited. Playoffs is here. Greg, you could have told me the season went by that fast, man. I mean, it's blinked. I remember off season, we're just, oh man, we're excited for the season, and now it's like, it's about to come to a close, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, it's super fast, man, and it's almost unbelievable to a degree. But we got another big matchup on Upset Alert, Dalton GAC. I like the GAC program, and I really like what head coach Tim Hardy's doing with the program. And I like how competitive they were. They really impressed me when they played against Kalen, how they were able to kind of beat up on, not say beat up on the corners, but they were able to have success against their corners, right? Gabe Daniels, Braylon Burgess, Xavier Daisy, right? They were able to kind of go over the top and make it tough for the corners, right? And I like Jet Stanton as a quarterback, right? He's not going to wow you with highlight type real plays, but he just seems like his processing speed, where he wants to go with the football. He just knows what to do, and he has good command of that offense. But this Dalton team, man, they're battle tested. And I'm not saying GSC isn't, but just look at the region, man. Cartersville, Hiram, Cass, Calhoun playoff streak of 23 years just was ended. They're coming out of that region as a 3 seed, and they got some players. I'm not going to lie to you. Excuse me. They have a good wide receiving core. Kendricks London, who made our region. Also, Bubba Tanner. Both of those guys want to watch. London was first team all region, and Bubba Tanner was second team all region. And then they also got some really good defensive players. All made all region first team, right? And the key I want to point out is the defensive back area, right? Peyton Starling, he was a star defensive lineman. He made all region. Ben Phelan, he made also all region at defensive line position. And then DB RJ Story made also first team, and Caleb Staten. So the reason I point them out is, as I said earlier, the success that they've had at the wide receiver position all season long for JC has been spectacular, right? The DBs for Dalton is going to have to be ready to play, right? They're going to have to be able to take that away and make it tough for Stanton. They're going to have to make him kind of second guess what he's seeing out there. They're going to have to be able to create pressure on the quarterback. That's where Peyton Starling comes in, right? And the DBs got to win on the outside. They got to make it tough for Daniels and Daisy and Burgess and make them make contested catches. That's going to be key and critical in this game. So even though it's at GSC, they got the home crowd, great team. I have this one on Upset Alert because I think they can do enough offensively. Dalton can. They're a physical team. They can run the ball really well. And I think their DBs have enough to match up. But we're going to find out. I'm not saying they're going to win, but I do have this game on Upset Alert potentially in the first round. I would not be surprised if Dalton came up there and got a win. GSC does have a very talented group, very good quarterback, very good coach, very good wide receiver room, and a really good running back. I didn't mention the running back either, GL Tiberia. I think the key for GSC, if they're going to win, give the ball to GL Tiberia, play a little bit of ball control, keep the offense of Dalton off the field, and let that set up the play action and things like that. But I got this game on Upset Alert. Should be a good one. The next one, no one's talking about this matchup. Dutchtown Northgate. I think that's a really intriguing matchup. We've talked about Dutchtown and all a lot on me and Craig shows. 4 losses by 1 score so far this season for Dutchtown. The thing with Dutchtown, though, is that they're battle tested, right? They're coming from a tough region. Had a really good non-region schedule. Actually, I want to look up really fast and just show the region schedule's off the charts. But just as far as non-region guys, I want you guys to listen to this and just who they played, right? They played Cedar Grove. They played Jonesboro, a team that's made the playoffs, right? So those 2 teams are really, really, really good. And then in the region, they played Ola. They played Warner Robins. They played Jones County. All those teams are perennial teams. And as Craig said on our show on Tuesday, that's potentially a region that could potentially sweep, and make a deep run. I would not be surprised. I mean, really good athletes and players all over the field for all those teams. So they're going to need a big performance, right? Dutchtown is going to have to play well on the road. It's not going to be easy. Northgate got a squad, right? And the 2 players I think that are really outstanding for them is their linebackers, Bryson Davis and Braxton Davies, excuse me. There's some players to watch on the defensive side of the ball. They've been having a great impact on the team. I think both have over 90-plus tackles on the season. So they're guys that they get after it. They can rush the passer, and they're very physical, and they can stuff run fronts. So I think that's going to be critical too. Those guys are going to have to be critical in these games. They've had multiple 10-plus tackle games throughout this season. So they're going to be key in kind of slowing down that rushing game for Dutchtown. And on the other side, Northgate also has a great rushing attack. And Evan Garrett has 1,416 yards rushing this season. So they really just need to feed him the ball. Feed him the ball, let them get him going. And then the Northgate quarterback, Dylan Barber, he just needs to, kind of take what the defense gives him get the ball to the playmakers and allow them to kind of, do their thing. So I think that's going to be really, really intriguing. Even though Dutchtown's a 3 seed, they could very easily come in here and win the game. But the key for Northgate, get the ball to the running back, Evan Garrett, allow it to set up play action with Dylan Barber, take what the defense gives you, don't try to do too much, and the 2 stud linebackers, or you want to say Mike, Will, outside backer, however you want to say it, Davies, they're going to be crucial in them getting a win because they're going to have to be able to take out that run game for Dutchtown, and Dutchtown can't run it on you. So that's kind of the key parts to watch on this game. It will be a lot of fun. It definitely isn't easy. I think the winner of this game, their second round matchup, is just off the charts. I'm going to preview that really quick. Yes. So Dutchtown, Northgate, they would play the winner of Arabia Mountain and Jenkins. And Arabia Mountain just got shouted out this week for their incredible season. 9-1 on the year. They just beat a really good Tucker team. So even the winner of this game, you don't have an easy second round matchup. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of just who comes out on top. My last one, I got an upset alert. Got to be Cass Kell. I like the Kell program. It's really, really good. I like what Coach Bobby May's doing. I like all the weapons that they have, the 3-headed monster they have in the backfield, Tyreek Green, Quintarius Gibson, and Kamari Nix. 2 stud wideouts in Kyle Vaca and Peyton Zachary. But I think the key in this game is if they can get pressure on Bryce Clavin, and that starts with Kai Ellis, kind of on the defensive front. We've seen them kind of wreck that game against Cartersville and have a really big impact and kind of make the quarterback uncomfortable. And that was the key why Cass was getting the ball in such great positions offensively, right? They were able to move the ball, and they was getting the ball in plus territory. They was getting the ball at the 40-yard line. And obviously some penalties in that game took some critical plays away from them. But I think if he can have kind of an impact game and that defensive line can get off the Clavin, kind of get him off a spot, make him feel uncomfortable, I think that's the one weak spot you look at offensively for Kell. That doesn't have a lot of weak spots, right? It's still that offensive line. You don't look at their receivers. You don't look at their run game. You don't look at their quarterback as weak spots. You look at those as strengths. They're going to be the reason they could potentially win a title. But the key piece is their offensive line. Their offensive line will have to protect Clavin. But if it's a tough night, Craig is going to be there. If he doesn't have a lot of time to throw, if they're constantly in the backfield, that could be tough. So we're going to see the offensive line is going to have to be good for Kell, I think, in this game. And Craig is calling a shootout. I think so, too. I think it will be a shootout, but that's one of the key points I have to watch out for. And I think the thing to watch for is, and I pointed out, Cass finally was able to get a big win against Calhoun and in the 23-year playoff streak. Cass struggled a little bit in the deep region of the schedule with Devin Henderson out. But I think the matchup, as I mentioned on the other side of the ball, was Cass' defensive line versus that offensive line. The other key matchup in this game is going to be Kobe White, Devin Henderson versus their DBs. Right, and we've seen the success that GAC had against Kell in the secondary. Their secondary is going to have to bring it. I'm not worried about linebacker. I know Justin Logan's going to play, but they're going to have to be able to kind of slow them down. So Kobe White's a problem, and if he goes off in this game and has 100 plus, 150, 200 yards, it could be a long night for Kell. So to Sean Nat, who won Defensive Player of the Game when we went last seen them and when they beat. Gosh, who did they beat when we had them on TV? Who did Kell beat? Kell. GAC, thank you. I don't know why I drew a blank on that. But Tashawn Nat was in the backfield all game. So they're going to need their defensive line to step up. He's a critical player that's going to have to create some pressure on Brody McWhorter. That's what it's going to have to be. Because if he sit back there and has time, he's going to light you up. They got too many pieces for Cass, and we've seen it in the Cartersville game, just kind of how they were able to kind of have that success. So that's going to be critical in this game. And my thing is, I need the coaching staff to trust Brody in this game. The game's on the line, man. Put the ball in his hands. I know he's a sophomore, but the kid can play, and he's going to have to be an X factor in this one. He don't need to have 300-400 yards, but he just needs to do what he does, play the game at an efficient level, get the ball to his playmakers, and he's more than capable of that. So it's going to be a good game, man. It really is. And I agree with Craig. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to be a back-and-forth affair and a lot on the line. And we're going to see. I'm not sleeping on Kell, but their secondary is going to have to play. And the key for Kell offensively, take advantage of that slot position. We're seeing that position have success. in Cartersville with Darian Taylor, Kyle Vaca, use him all over the field, use him in the slot, allow him to do his thing in the open field, let him run the routes. Because I think in this game, Cass is probably thinking, okay, watching the film, we need to take this running game away, right? We need to stop Kamari Nix. We need to stop Contreras Gibson, Tyree Green. And I think they're going to pay a lot of attention to Peyton Zachary on the X and the Y, right? That leaves the Z position open the whole game. And that's where kind of Kyle Vaca feast is at. So I think this could be a very well game that he could explode. Might not have a lot of catches, maybe 5 or 6. But I think this could easily be 100, 150, maybe even a 200-yard game for Kyle. Just because I think going into this game, their primary focus is going to be on the running game and Peyton Zachary taking him away, who just had a big game, 8 catches, 118 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So I won't be surprised if Kyle Vaca feasts in this game. He's going to be a key part offensively. Again, I'm not saying Cass will win, but I do have this game on upset alert. That will be a really interesting one. All right, let's keep it moving. Let's go to National Signing Day. On the boys' side, a lot of big signees. We're going to talk about that right now. Anthony Austin, the shooting guard, 6'2", for Grayson, officially signed with Appalachian State. Ace Bailey officially signed. I heard he's supposed to actually sign Saturday night after the game's over against Grayson. He's supposed to officially sign to Rutgers. Karis Balau from Riverwood, he's supposed to sign with Vanderbilt. C.J. Brown signed yesterday with South Florida. Jalen Cullen is supposed to signed with Alabama A&M. Luke Flynn, that standout guard from Walton, he signed with Wofford officially. KJ Green from Pace Academy, that really great group, he signed with UCF. Josh Hill signed with Arkansas State, the really standout big man, power forward center from Wheeler. Kamari Holmes signed with Wofford. CJ Highland from Grayson is already signed with Western Carolina. Jabez Jenkins from Newton signed with Belmont. Caleb Jones signed with Arkansas Pine Bluff from North Gwinnett. Peyton Marshall with Kell signed with Missouri. Ricky McKenzie from Wheeler signed with Kennesaw State. Will Moore signed with from West Forsyth signed with Marshall. That's going to be a standout player. Also a player you're going to see on Peachtree Sports Network on December 2nd when we kick off the Corky Kell Dave Hunter Classic. He's going to be a player to watch for West Forsyth. Xavier Shagog from Mount Vernon signed with West Georgia. Micah Smith signed with James Madison, who just had that big upset win against Michigan State on the road against the number 4 team in the country. He officially signed with them. Makai Turner from Maynard Jackson signed with Kennesaw State. Jeremiah Wilkinson from TSF, he signed with California. And then you have Jax Abernathy, shooting guard from Christian Heritage, signed with Trevecca Nazarene. A.J. Horton from South College signed with Fort Valley State. William Job, Frederica Academy, signed with Rollins. Josh Langfields signed with Notre Dame College from Denmark. Cole Carroll from Mount Vernon signed with Covenant. Keyshawn Dickey from Marietta signed with Huntington. Harry Kitty from Weber School signed with Emory. L.J. Moore from Pace Academy signed with Chicago. Cam Pareda from Greenbrier signed with Johns Hopkins. Noah Peterson from Walker School signed with Brevard. Isaac Beeler from Mount Pisgah, he signed with Southeastern. And then Dante Golden, Central Gwinnett, signed with Voorhees. And also Tim Smith from Central Gwinnett signed with Voorhees. So that is the list. I'm sure it's more, but that's kind of a premise and kind of what I've seen. And I think the other standout is star guard Brianna Preston, who is now at Wesleyan. I thought this was a great signing for the program. She signed with Texas basketball. And I think she's going to bring so much just to the offensive side of the ball for Wesleyan that they haven't had in a long time. We've seen her on the state championship team in 2021-2022 with Lovejoy. They made it right back to the same game last year. And unfortunately, they lost to a really good River Ridge team that was really, really good. But I think she's going to bring so much to that program, and they're going to be kind of a dark horse team, I think, out there in 6A. I mean, she's phenomenal. She was their leading scorer last season, and I think she's going to do the same thing at Wesleyan. She's going to be a good fit for the program, and I think Texas is getting a baller, an absolute baller. So that's some of the news. We also had, before we go to break, we also had some major basketball just kind of news I wanted to shout out as well. I got to give some love to Kevin Ramsey from Ware County. It was just a scrimmage, but he chipped in 17 points and 14 rebounds in their scrimmage against Liberty County. He's continued to progress and play at a very, very high level. River Ridge and Langston Hughes actually kicked off yesterday. The final, River Ridge won that one 56-46. Kayla Cleveland's coming into her own now, 18 points, 5 boards. Sophia Pearl, we know what she can do. She's a heavily recruited player in her 2025 class. The junior, 14 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists. Phenomenal performance from her. And then on the other side, Michaela Taylor had 12 points and 14 rebounds and 3 steals. So that's a little bit about that game. And then also want to give another shout out to Ware County, the Gators. This is, I'm trying to see her name. Well, this is posted by Mandy Langenfelter. One of their players, Max, hit a new max yesterday of 210 pounds on the power clean. So that's getting it done. They look like they're going to be a pretty good team out there for the program. I think that was interesting. And a couple scrimmages I want to talk about really, really quick. Holly Innocence, they scrimmage St. Francis. Team looks good. I mean, I know it's just a scrimmage, but y'all, listen to the stat line. Caleb Wilson, the heavily recruited 2025 player, I think as high as number 2, number 3 overall. He had 31 points and 15 rebounds last night and 4 assists in the scrimmage. So he's doing his thing. Devin Hutchinson had 20 points and 9 rebounds, a strong all-around performance for the program. And then it was a big victory last night for Maynard Jackson, who's kind of a team as a contender, I believe, in 6A. They beat Norcross last night 73-60 in the scrimmage game. Again, it is just a scrimmage. Norcross had some things they got to figure out with graduating so many. We'll talk about a little bit about that more in a little bit. But that was a big-time victory, I think, for them, and really, really, really interesting. I think that's interesting as well, them getting that big victory. And then I also seen Pace Academy with the big victory against Douglas. Douglas is going to be another team featured in Peachtree Sports Network for the Corky Kell. Pace Academy won 90-55. So I think we know 4A for the most part they're going to be the favorite. Just such a great team, right? Eric Chatfield, Kyle Green, coming back for another year, Hall of Fame coach, and Charmaine White. It's got a great team, man. And Douglas is a team that had a deeper playoff run, right? They made the Final Four, made it deep, played against Cedar Grove in the Final Four, lost, but they got some nice key additions in there that's going to be really good for the program. But I think that's really intriguing as well. But we're going to go take a quick short break. Thank our sponsors. Be back on the other side for the second segment of the show.
What you doing?
Hey, just finishing this claim to get Dave back on the road.
Nice. I wonder what Dave's doing.
You do your thing. We've got you covered.
Hey, does it matter if this leaks?
It don't matter to me, can't see it from my house.
Illegal use of hands, improper training.
GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com has 14 different highly skilled trades with tuition-free training in our certified apprenticeship programs to train you the right way. Find your career at GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com.
All right, guys, welcome back. Second segment of the show. So we're going to go ahead and talk about Grayson McEachern. I teased it a little bit. It's just such a great way to start hoops. Again, 2 top teams. Craig was kind of really excited about just the teams that are playing in a matchup, really good ones. Osborne is going to be there. Newton, Green Forest Christian is going to play against Kell. Some really great matchups, man. Some great teams. Gainesville is going to be there with their new head coach as well. Dutchtown's going to play Wheeler. So some really great matchups, man. But I think the nightcapper is where it takes it with these 2 teams. And if you don't know about these 2 teams, I'm going to enlighten you. So Grayson, kind of one of those power programs, right? Jeffrey Pierce doing a good job. We had him last year on the show. And I think this year they have so much more talent just coming in and coming back, right? They still got C.J. Highland, Western Carolina commit, Jakari Harris, who's a heavily recruited 4-star combo guard, can do a little bit of everything. But I think their front court is where the difference is, right? We'll see if Colin Fox comes and he plays basketball after their football run is done. But they got Amir Taylor, and they brought over Jacob Wilkins, the 4-star player from 2025 class. I think that's going to be really, really intriguing. And I say that because he's hard to stop, and he's going to be a force. He's athletic. He can handle the ball. they're just going to be a problem for teams in 7A, and it's going to be hard to match up against them. Highland, he's really good in transition basketball, pushing the pace, finding the open man, doesn't force anything, gets the ball to his shooters, allows the game to kind of come to him. So they got so many weapons. It's going to be intriguing to see. And then from McEachern, right, got Ace Bailey, number 2 overall player. You also got Jay Nash, as I mentioned kind of in the article. Jay Nash is coming over from Briarcrest, from Tennessee, right? He set a career assist record there, right? Broke their record for the most career assists in the program history, right? So it's a kid that can pass the ball, right? Also get his own shot. And I think the thing that's key in that one is you're not going to be asking Ace Bailey to do too much. Obviously, Ace Bailey can do pretty much everything you ask him to do, but now you got a guy that can create offensively and also can get you easy buckets as well. So I think that's going to be key as well, having him in the backcourt along with him. Both have great coaches, right? Tremaine Ekram, every year that since he's been there, they've been a perennial program, a perennial playoff program. And then Coach Jeffrey Pierce, I looked it up. I don't think he's had less than 20 wins in the season, like in his career at Grayson. So, I mean, now you bring it in with this talent. Obviously, it has to kind of build cohesion and mesh. You got some new parts coming in and things like that. But I think both have great coaches, both have great programs. And Coach Pierce has a really great background, 200 career wins, and he also was a finalist for Naismith National Boys Coach of the Year in 2019 and 2020. So I don't think it gets no better than that. Great matchup, 2 phenomenal programs who are favorites in 7A. Both have great players on both sides of the ball. Jay Nash, as I mentioned last year, led his team to a 33-3 record, the Division II state championship title berth. So the kid can play. He's going to be a great addition to the program. I think this is a great way to end your kind of Saturday. Both have phenomenal programs. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. If you can't, go check it out. It won't be televised, but you can go to McEachern High School and look at a great day of hoops. All right, got another matchup we want to talk about, Norcross Grovetown. And why I bring that up, Grovetown was such a really good team last year, but they lose so much, right? No Vashawn Ferguson, who averaged 26 last year. He graduated, right? No Markel Freeman, who averaged 20 last year. He graduated. Then you had another player, Darion Reed, who was kind of one of your focal points in your offensive side of the ball. He's at Prolific Prep now in California. So it's like, I'm interested to see how this Grovetown team is going to look, who's going to be some of the new players that are going to step up. Because this is a team that made it pretty far in the playoffs last year, but now they got a whole new program. How is that team going to look now? Who's going to be some of the key pieces? And Norcross, kind of the same thing, right? Obviously, they're going to have some players stepping up. They got Toby Ajokwu, one of their lone returning starters. Coach Mack talked very highly of him and what he brings to the team. He feels really good about their size and athleticism this year, so I think that's going to be something he's going to kind of hang his hat on. And then Gerard Salisbury, he's going to be playing an increased role. Kind of had to back up and kind of sit his turn behind Lamarian Jordan, who's at Georgia, and Mier Panome. But now this is his team offensively. He's going to be a big piece of what they like to do. But Norcross last year, they graduated 5 seniors. So they're going to depend on a lot of new guys to come in, step up, and kind of be that force. And we know how great of a program this is at Norcross, right? Bunch of NBA players, kids that have done well on the college level and made something of themselves. So Coach Mack does a great job with the talent he gets and has them play at their high level. And he even said the first couple of games will kind of be a test to see where we are. And even 7, 8, we don't even get that many practices. You only get about 13, 14, varsity practices before you start playing games. So I think that's a key note to kind of think about as well when it comes to this program. But I think at the end, it'll be the same as last year. I think they'll kind of get into what they are, find their identity as a team, and I think they'll end up being rolling down the season. And don't be surprised if they be right there and make a potential run and potentially pull off an upset. So I think this is a good game, and I'm highlighting it because I think it's important to talk about the two programs and kind of just how much all the talent they had last year, where they got, the level they were at, and kind of this year almost, I won't say rebuilding, but kind of fine-tuning, putting in new pieces, putting in different players into the system and the program. And I think a great thing that stood out to me talking to Coach Mack is he says a lot of the players and their success is it's not an ego thing with Norcross, right? It's like you come in, you know your role, you play your role to the best of your ability, and you try your best thing to help the team. And I think that's key. Sometimes you'll have star players and they're everything in the offense, but I think he brought up a great point, and that's why Norcross is always so good. It's guys that come in, they have a specific role, they know their role, they play it to the best of their ability. There's no arguing. There's none of that. They buy into the system and what is best for the team. And I think that's key. And I think that's why they've been good year in, year out for all these years. So I think that's pivotal. And I think this is going to be a good test to kind of see where both teams are. Still early in the season, so from the grand scheme of things, it's not going to really matter much. It's a non-region game. But it's just good to see both teams had a high level of talent, new pieces coming in, new players playing different roles, kind of see how they mesh up. So that's what I got as far as that. All right, guys, I want to go and move to the tell of the tape. We're going to look at Jeremiah I'm probably saying his last name wrong. It's difficult to pronounce. Ioane from Arbor High School from Las Vegas, Nevada. So let's roll this tape. It's a little bit of sophomore year, right? He had a couple clips, like at the beginning of it. You're going to see a couple of clips from his junior season, but a lot of it's from sophomore year. So some of it's going to be some running back plays, but you guys are going to be thoroughly impressed with just how he approaches the game and how he plays the linebacker position. So let's roll it. All right, so here he is right in the middle, looking at him kind of chop his feet, get down in the box, make a nice tackle. This play right here, you're going to hand it off. We're going to wait and explode. Big hit right there. We instant replayed that. So, again, you got a motion coming over from the receiver. He's going to hand it off. Look at him wait. Chop his feet, keep his feet on. Boom. And look at him attack. Laid a big hit on the defender. On the running back. Great play right there. Same thing right here. Boom. Nice short tackle. Stops him in his tracks. Nothing there. Right here, just right place, right time. Does a great job making an interception. And Craig, I'm going to have you re-roll this one back. This play we just did. Yeah, right there. So this one I really like because here you see the versatility of this player, right? You see really how good he is. And he's lining up. He's really a middle linebacker, but look at him line up over the center / right guard, right? And then he's going to explode and see a gap in the defense. And he doesn't necessarily get there, but he's so disruptive in getting in the backfield that he throws off the timing of the quarterback that forces an errant throw that leads to an interception. Go ahead and roll it for me, Craig. Watch it. Look at him move over to the right guard, get through. Big time play. And he's moving so fast, the running back can't even block him. Boom, right here. I mean, as soon as he gets his hands on you, you're going down. Nice job filling the gap right there, filling the hole, coming down here. Boom, I love this play. Oh, my gosh. We had to instant replay it. Pause it real quick for me, Craig. Look at the explosion on this play. Look at him just see what the offense is doing, knowing this is going to be a run. Look at him explode. Nobody's going to block me. I'm getting through on this play, and I'm going to lay you out. You know what this play reminds me of? The very famous one. You just said it, Craig. Jadeveon Clowney when he absolutely lit up the Michigan running back and got them back the ball. Look at this play, y'all. We're going to go full speed, and then we're going to go just kind of slow it down. Look at this play. Boom. Almost took his head off. Oh, my goodness. Look at it again. Boom. Look at that explosion. Get through. Boom. I mean, he literally almost takes the kid's helmet off. That's insane. That's insane. All right, boom. Here's right there. Coming downhill again. Short tackle yet again. Boom. It's QB keeper. Look at him right there. Boom. As soon as he gets his hands on you, you're going nowhere. Nothing. Minimal gain. Barely a yard, maybe 2 yards. All right, here's again right here. Look at him come downhill. Woo. Goodness gracious. He's looking to take heads off. I think this was a different play from earlier. Boom, here he comes. Good job chopping his feet. Big time play right there. Here he is in the middle. Play a little bit of coverage. Look at him explode to the ball. Boom. Nice wrap up from behind. Great play right there from Jeremiah. Same thing. He's getting there in the backfield. Big time hit right here. Middle linebacker. Chop his feet, chop his feet, chop his feet. See it. Explode. Textbook tape. Same thing. Boom. Chop his feet. Boom. Use that inside move and get to the ball carrier right there. Fantastic. And here, you're going to see him running the ball. I don't know if he does a lot of this now because this is from sophomore year, but, I mean, you can see the burst, man. Look at the moves in the open field. Look at him shaking defenders. Tough to bring down. Same thing right here. He's going to hand it off. Boom. Works that tackle. Puts the move on the defender. Shakes him out of his shoes. Easy tutty. Easy money. Boom. Here he is. Boom. Look at that move. Woo-hoo-hoo! Goodness gracious. He almost broke that kid's ankles. Look at this, y'all. Here we go. Roll that one more time. Look at it. Look at it do to the ankles. Look at this. Woo! My goodness. That is a heck of a move right there. And here he is again. Going to the right. Breaks that tackle. Looks like that was a face mask. And then you can just see the burst on the field, right? You can tell this kid probably runs track, plays a lot of sports. The burst stands out big time. Boom. Same thing here. Follows his blocks. He's just too fast, man. Too good, too fast. So, I mean, I appreciate you, man. Jeremiah, I told you I was going to look at your film. Appreciate you hitting me up on Twitter. I'm going to try to have you on the show. If not this one, I'll have you on my own channel. I'm going to bring you on. I got to talk to you, man. That film is outstanding. When I say textbook, I mean textbook. And this kid, I mean, he's a 3-star player. He got plenty of offers, and you can see why. You can make the argument maybe he should even be a 4-star player. I mean, I don't know what else you're looking for necessarily there. Let's say they have him at Cheyenne High School now. But that one was Arbor View from last year. So, again, that was his sophomore. He might have transferred schools. But offers right now, Arizona, Colorado State, Nevada, Northern Arizona, Oregon State, Portland State, Utah Tech. Again, I definitely could see other programs offering. He might stay out west. But, I mean, you see it on the film. When he's running the ball, you see the explosion. You see the speed. You see the moves he makes in the open field. You see he jukes defenders out of their shoes. And on the defense side of the ball, short tackler, right? Able to, lay kids out. Almost took the kid helmet off. Again, go look at that play, y'all, and go look at the play that Jadeveon County made in that big game when they got cheated, basically, and gave them a first down. The very next play, those are eerily similar. It's the same thing. So I love his explosion. I love his ability to tackle, and I love just his versatility. Right, you can use him anywhere. They're using him to blitz. They're using him at the will. They're using him at the mic. They're using him in coverage. So it's just so many things. I think he checks off a lot of boxes for college coaches, and I think he should have even more offers come in. Very impressive tape. Kid does a lot of stuff well. Has a very, very, very bright future. The linebacker, 6'2", 215. To say currently now from 247, he's at Cheyenne High School. So, man, keep doing your thing, man. I enjoyed watching your tape. That was a lot of fun. All right, we're going to keep it rolling, man. Move to the next part. I got to give a shout-out to Prince Avenue. I forget what position she plays, but she's a standout for the program. They went 39-1, won their first ever title. But Audrey Vandegrift, she officially signed with Alabama. She's the daughter of great head coach Greg Vandegrift. That's awesome. That's not easy to do. Alabama is a top-tier program when it comes to softball as well. So, I mean, that's a great honor for her. She officially signed yesterday, so she did a magnificent job in the program. She was one of their standouts, made an all-region team. Just does a really great job for the program. So I just wanted to give her a shout out. She's been doing her thing on the softball realm. Very excited that she was able to kind of sign her letter of intent and do her thing. And that was very great season for her. And it's going to be interesting to see kind of how that goes. All right, let's see. Okay, so there's a couple players I want to give a quick shout out to. One, I want to give a shout out to Ryan Jenkins. He was actually named CBS 44 Defensive Player of the Year. So I had a magnificent season for the program. His stats specifically, I'm not sure, but this is a guy I was very high on last year. Great to see him get recognized for his success. He's going to be a South Florida Bull. Excuse me. And he had a great season last year. It wasn't talked about. Loved being able to kind of analyze his film from Westover. He had his had his signing day and his commitment day. Allowed me to be part of it, so definitely appreciate him from that. Being from South Georgia, he looked like, man. If you look at the picture, he's gotten bigger and stronger and faster. I haven't seen a lot of his film, man, but they got a first round matchup they got this week. But I think that's just excellent for him, man. I love to see it. He does a great job for the program. We've seen some of his plays. I said a Khalil Mack type of play he made last year, just sending the ball carry up, ripping the ball from him, and returning for a touchdown. We've seen that before. But just love to see him having this success, man, and being able to kind of be recognized for it and being able to do it on a grand in a big stage, man. I mean, that's awesome for him. So I wanted to give him a shout out. Keep doing your thing, Ryan. we see you. That's a lot of fun. And one last thing before we go to break and transition, I want to talk about this Super Saturday. I think it's really intriguing. It's December 2nd, so it's a couple weekends off. But, I mean, you want to talk about primetime talent. Kind of the same thing, right? December 2nd, Wheeler High School. Some of the players we mentioned before. Some of the matchups. Let's listen to these. McDonough and Cedar Grove at 10:30 a.m., followed by Pebblebrook Tri-Cities at 12 at noon. St. Francis and Green Forest at 1:30 p.m. Shiloh and Kimball, Texas at 3 p.m. Shiloh, I think, has a very good program this year. Very elite talent at the basketball position. Berkmar plays Green Forest at 4:30. You have Grayson Osborne. That's going to be an intriguing matchup. A Kai Fleming, a heavily recruited player and really nice player in the 2025 class, junior. Very highly ranked on ESPN and 247 Sports. Wheeler's going to play Alexander, and then Holly Innocence and McEachern in the nightcap. Again, that's going to be such an intriguing matchup. I think that game is the battle of the bigs, right? Caleb Wilson, 6'9", kind of reminds me of KD a little bit, right? He's going to be probably guarding and going up against Ace Bailey. So it's going to be fun to see them two kind of going at it, man. And that's going to be at Wheeler High School in Marietta. That is December 2nd. So unfortunately, we won't be able to go, but this is a great classic, and we won't be able to go because we will have our own Corky Kell that day of teams playing in that. But if you have nothing to do, that's going to be a fun just day of basketball and a great just national bracket as well. And then on the girls' side, they got some great girls matchups too. We'll talk about that real quick before going to break. Wheeler is going to play Kell. Duluth going to match up against Druid Hills. Heritage is going to play Kip Collegiate. Gainesville is going to play South Gwinnett. Archer is going to play Chattahoochee. Newton against Buford. Peachtree Ridge, Lee County, and then Tucker and Westlake. So some really great matchups, man, on December 2nd, the Super Saturday Classic at Wheeler High School in Marietta. That is the same weekend of SEC Championship weekend. So that'll be a lot of fun. But we're going to go ahead and go to break. Thank our sponsors one more time, and then be back on the other side with top 10 headlines for the weekend.
Hey, is the power off on this?
I don't know. Just take it off. Safety violation, unsafe work conditions.
In the construction trades unions, safety is our highest priority, and we train you to recognize and speak out on unsafe working conditions so that everyone arrives and goes home safely. Learn about careers in construction at GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com.
What you doing?
Hey, just finishing this claim to get Dave back on the road.
Nice. I wonder what Dave's doing.
You do your thing. We've got you covered.
All right, guys, welcome back to the show. Top 10 headlines for the weekend presented by GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com. A lot going on this weekend, some major developments and things like that. So let's go ahead and start with number one. Initially reported by Georgia High School Football Daily. I think this is intriguing. These teams are looking to escape from the highest class of 6A that will start for the 2024-2026 seasons. Alexander, Arabia Mountain, Central Gwinnett, Chapel Hill, Douglas County, Effingham County, Grovetown, Heritage Conyers, Houston County, Kennesaw Mountain, New Manchester, Noonan, Rockdale County, and Shiloh. So you got a lot of teams right now. If you guys don't know what this process is about, a lot of teams, when a new classification comes out, they decide if they're going to stay in the classification they've been assigned to, or if they're going to appeal and try to be able to drop down. So I think it's interesting in all this to see what's going to happen with Milton. Milton's in 5A. Will they try to appeal to go up? They usually do. But these are some significant teams, right? You got Grovetown. I think Douglas County, with all the talent that they have, that's really intriguing as well. You got Arabia Mountain. That's a really interesting one. They had a great season this past year. They're looking to go down as well. Shiloh also stands out on this as well, and Alexander. So we'll see if they approve that, the GHSA. But I think it's interesting to see these teams want to kind of be able to go down and not be in the highest classification. So that's number one. Number two, swimming season is here, and the finals will be February 10th through the 13th this year, a little bit later. Pace Academy began their season last night against Loganville. So swimming is already here, the winter sport, and that coverage we'll see during February for the state championship. So that is officially upon us in here. Number 3, as I mentioned, Ware County, Kevin Ramsey drops 17 and 14 points in their scrimmage against Liberty County. I think it's a player that we got to kind of take a note of and watch out throughout the season. I'll be having updates on him and several other players. I think I'm going to bring a segment to the show with just standout performers, basketball all season long, just having big nights. You know, a couple of basketball games get played, you know, every so often, every couple of days. So I think I'm going to bring that to the show. Just standout performers, having great performances this season, you know, kind of how we do on our show on Tuesdays with football players. I think I'm going to bring it to the basketball element. But number 4, got to give a shout out to Loganville Junior Libero Caitlin Sutton. She was selected to the All-State volleyball team. She became the 3rd player in program history to be named to All-State. A great honor for her, a phenomenal junior season as well. She helped lead Loganville to a 6-0 area record and to the first round of the playoffs. She had a magnificent junior season. Shout out to her, Caitlin Sutton, for Loganville. Phenomenal year for her. And then that's at number 5. He's actually signing, or already signed earlier today. I mentioned him earlier. Kamari Holmes, the standout player from Archer, he officially signed with Wofford University at 2:30. So I was a little bit earlier, or during the show actually. It's a great player, right? Last year averaged 17 points per game during his junior season and 5 rebounds to go along with 2 steals per game. Unequivocally, he's their best player. He's going to be one to watch for the Archer program. They had a pretty good season last year. They battled in a really tough region with Grayson and Parkview and all of them boys. But I think he's going to be a key piece for them if they're going to try to make a run and make a postseason this year. He's going to have a good season yet again. All right, number 6, Lakeside Evans added some very, very good talent. 6'9" junior forward, DeKylan Hill. He's coming off a 19-point, 11-rebound campaign. He comes over from Laney. He is now with the program. I think he's going to be so valuable with just the kind of twitchiness he has and the ability to block shots, right? The ability to kind of switch on defense. And then his finish around the rim is going to also be critical. I think you've seen last year at some points, Lakeside Evans had a good season. They made the playoffs, but sometimes they struggled in the post. They struggled to get easy baskets. I think DeKylan Hill is going to bring that to this team with his height, his length, his size. He's going to be able to switch, be able to play defense, be able to block shots, kind of be that rim protector they've been missing. And he's going to be a key person inside the post, get easy basket, easy layups, dunks in transition. So I think he's going to add a really great presence to this team. I think this is a great transfer for him and also for Lakeside Evans. So that's going to be interesting to watch all season long. And then number 7, got to give some love to Walton softball. Their players made the Region 5, 7A All-Region team. Infielder Kenzie Oddie, infielder Blakely Caldwell, Shahid Chatham, and Julia Rutledge all made All-Region team this year. Wanted to give them a shout-out. Phenomenal performance for the Walton softball program now that the season has concluded. Another big note, number 8, Willie McGinnis officially signs to Georgia State. What's interesting about that, it seems like Georgia State kind of has that monopoly over the McGinnis brothers. I think this is the 3rd brother they've signed to the program. He plays at Noonan High School. And then currently, I think just Georgia State, they're doing a good job just getting those brothers to come play for the program. And Georgia State, they're playing some really good teams. Last year, I think they played Georgia. They played Wake Forest. They're playing these upper echelon NCAA teams. And I think that's what's great about Georgia State. They're getting exposure young or early in these guys' careers where they're able to go play. If they want to play in the minor leagues, they go play for MLB. So I think that's great. And they continue to kind of attack the McGinnis family and bring them in. So I think that's really, really interesting as well. And then number 9, I mentioned a CBS Channel 44 defensive player of the year. I got to mention the offensive player of the year. That is Ousmane Kromah from Lee County. Has 1,392 yards and 4 touchdowns. We got to see him on Peachtree Sports Network when they played Houston County. And, man, if you didn't leave that game impressed with him and what he can bring to the table, I don't know what to tell you. The kid played on a bum calf, could barely walk. His head coach talked about it. Craig interviewed him. And a really impressive coach in Dave Fabrizio, who does a good job with the Lee County program. But to rush for 327 yards and 4 touchdowns on a bum calf? I mean, the kid is nothing short of spectacular. Any college should want this kid. He's going to bring a lot to your program. He's going to be very successful. But he won CBS Channel 44 Player of the Year. I mean, I was really impressed with his play. He's a great player, humble, very soft-spoken. Just, you could tell, just no nonsense. He's going to grind, work, get to where he wants to be in life. So shout out to him. Plays in Middle Georgia, but getting some love from CBS 47 as the player of the year offensively. Got to give him a shout out. And number 10 to conclude the show has to be, as I mentioned, I've talked a lot about it, but Grayson McEachern. Again, sometimes you don't always get to see these matchups, but to kick off basketball season in that sort of fashion against two great 7-8 programs and two teams that have championship aspirations and have great coaches and great players and are great programs and great fan bases, I don't think it gets much better than that. So I think to kind of start your weekend that way is the way to do it. So I think that will be a lot of fun for them, those two teams going off. And I got to give some love to the Tucker program. We don't talk about them a lot. It's kind of unfortunate, but I want to give them some love. The Tucker 7th grade program, we seen them earlier this year, and I was telling Craig, and he was like, are you sure, man? Are you sure that they'll be able to compete with Grayson? Because we know kind of how good Grayson is with youth football. It's usually them and Buford who's going to win it. But I visited 3. I didn't visit McEachern, so I didn't know a lot about them. I didn't really speak on them. But going to all 3, and I think the head coach for Cambridge does a good job with the youth program. But just, if you go look at all 3 and what they were doing in preparation for the game, Grayson was installing plays, Cambridge was also just kind of doing just different drills. They did a couple plays and things like that. But I think the key was it just looked like Tucker was more physical. It's just like all the plays, they barely installed the offense. Like they did that later, but they were just trying to take your head off. They were very physical, and you seen that in the game, and they were able to win it and win our Sheriff's Cup this past year. And I think that was so incredible, and that's kind of a sign to show where they are and what kind of season they were going to have. Now they're battling for a championship this weekend at 8 p.m. So wanted to give them some praise, want to give them some love. A great program. Going to be exciting to see if they can win it all. Last year they came up a little bit short, but I think this year they have the team. JT, Carter Lumpkin, who's the son of the great UGA player. They just got so much talent. The quarterback is the coach's son. So it's going to be really interesting to see if they're able to win it all. Just wanted to get us some love. We don't talk about the youth program enough. So I want to get us some love, man. Tucker program. Coach, always doing your thing, man. Definitely one of my favorite coaches I've talked to. So I want to give you guys some love on the show today and hope you guys are able to win it all. And I appreciate you staying in touch with me and just, showing that love and telling me what you guys got going on this week. But far as tomorrow's show, who you got, Craig?
Not sure.
Okay, Craig is still working on the show, so I'll let him get to that. But that'll be an interesting show. I'm sure Craig is going to go a little bit more in depth on the 5A, 4A a little bit more and just kind of talk about what he's interested in looking at. I would love to see you too, Craig, kind of visit 7A and 6A. I've kind of told you my stance of what I think and the potential matchups that are interesting. I don't think I've said it on air, but don't be surprised. I'll say it real quick before we end the show. Buford Grayson. Dude, sign me up for that matchup. On the other bracket, it'll probably be, we'll see, maybe Walton Carrollton in a rematch. I know Walton wants that matchup. Walton ain't running from nobody. That's going to be an intriguing one between those two. But the Buford Grayson is a little bit more intriguing, right? And I say that because they've never played, right? And we know the talent that they have, right? We know the talent that Buford has, and we know the talent that Grayson has. And I'm telling y'all, I've told Craig off air, told Rusty off air, I think Grayson has a team to beat them. I do. And there's no disrespect on Buford. Buford's a great team, great coaching staff. We know what they can do. But I just think they got the athletes. I think they got the secondary in Jalen Ball, who's a 4-star player, right? They got John Senius, right? They got Kylan Fox, who's a mismatch. Who's going to guard him? Alexander Sanchez. They can run it with Dylan Elder, who we named this week to our standout performers on our show on Tuesday on Underrated and Overlooked, right? They got Amari Alston. They got different ways they can hit you. And the crazy part about the game against Parkview that they won, that we haven't talked about this week, Jeff Davis was 6 for 12 for 39 yards. That's kind of scary, right? He don't have to be on his A game for them to blow a team out. That's kind of scary. So I think that's going to be an intriguing matchup. Again, this is me hoping and wishing a little bit to see. But if you look at how the brackets match up, Grayson should handle business against Richmond Hill. Grayson should handle business against the winner of East Coweta, and North Paulding. I think that would be intriguing. And I think the Douglas County Gainesville potentially in semifinals is interesting as well, right? Them two teams going at it. Apparently Gainesville is the favorite in 6A. Obviously, I'm not sleeping on Langston Hughes and that great program. They're potentially going to play Thomas County Central later down the line. I think that's intriguing as well. I'm not sleeping on Langston Hughes at all. But I think that Douglas County-Gainesville game, they're playing in a big spot. And I got to get some love to my guy, Jeremy Johnson, because he actually said, early this summer, he said that Douglas County was a Final Four team. He did. And Craig agreed with me, and Craig heard it too. So let's see if he's right. We're going to find out because it is playoff time. So I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun. Stay tuned for Craig's show. I know he's going to go more in depth, but I just want to leave you guys with that final thought. I will be tomorrow at Statesboro versus Tucker. We'll have the preview coming out here pretty soon. Again, a lot of athletes. I think the key in that game real quick, Cam Michael, right? He is their quarterback now. Go a little bit more in depth later and at the game when I'm calling it. But he's the quarterback now. 4-star player, being heavily recruited by Georgia. That's kind of where he's been kind of pinned to go to. Montre Baffer on the defensive side of the ball, the defensive end. He's going to Colorado. It's going to be an intriguing matchup. And crazy part is, Tucker has a 6'8 quarterback that went viral earlier this year against Stevenson. So it's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top of that one at Adams Stadium. Two really great programs, two great teams. First-year head coach Matt Dobson is doing a great job, led them to a playoff berth in a really tough region. And that's the game I'll be at tomorrow, and Craig will be at Cass-Kell. I'm sure he will recap that on Monday. But that's all I got, guys. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Happy Friday Eve, and enjoy all the playoff action in round one. I'm sure round two will be a lot of fun, too. And we'll see you guys next Thursday to break it all down. And we'll have more hoop news and things like that. And stay tuned for the show tomorrow. We out. Peace.